All right, in this video, I'm going to derive these two functions. Here's the first one, and in this case, we have to derive it using the product rule. So first thing I do is I just split it into the two functions f and g. So f is just my first function over here, and g is the second function there. But instead of writing it with a square root, I will write it with an exponent of 1 over 2 because that's a bit easier to derive. And now let's derive this equation. I'm deriving this with my chain rule. 4 times 3 is 12. Inside stays the same. New exponent, I gotta do 4 minus 1, so that's 3. And then I have to multiply by the derivation of the inside of the bracket, which is just 2. Now I can simplify this. 12 times 2 is just 24. Let's derive the g function over here. So half goes to the front. Same thing inside the bracket. And then I'm going to subtract 1 from my exponent. So my new exponent is negative half. And then because of the chain rule, I'm going to multiply by the derivation of the inside of the bracket, which is just 2x plus 7. This one can't really be simplified. I don't want to really multiply those two because they're not constants. So I'm going to just leave this one like this. And now I'm going to do my product rule. So the product rule is basically f prime g plus g prime f, which is basically you cross multiplying. So this times this plus this times that. I'm going to write it here. I might write it a bit small because this is going to take a lot of space. So f prime g plus g prime times f. So that's the derivation of the function right there. If you don't have to simplify it, that would be a final solution, but we're going to simplify it for the purposes of this equation because for this class, it's required to be fully simplified. So to simplify, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to combine this 1 over 2 and this 3 over here. And I'm also going to move this negative exponent to the denominator so that I don't have a negative exponent anymore. Over here, nothing really can simplify, so I'm going to write this the exact same. And over here, 3 times 1 is just 3. This is going to move to the bottom, so I won't even write it. And then 2x plus 7, and then 2x minus 5 to the power of 4. And the bottom now, I have the 2 over here, and I have this term that's moved to the bottom, and I can make my exponent positive. Now, next thing I have to do is I have to make a common denominator for these two terms. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom over here by 2 times x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of half. So 2 times 24 is 48. This bracket is not going to change at all. If I do x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of half times x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of half, I'll just get x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of 1 because I'm adding the exponents. If it's a 1, I don't need to write it there. This stays unchanged over here. And now I have a common denominator of 2 times x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of half. Now, next step, I have to common factor out whatever I can over here. So in the top, my common factor between 48 and 3 is just 3. Then between these two brackets, I can take out 2x minus 5 cubed. And then there's nothing else I can common factor in the numerator. So I'm just going to write what's going to be left. So if I do 48 divided by 3, that's 16. This whole thing will just disappear, and then I'm just left with x squared plus 7x plus 3. And then over here, if I common factor out 3, the 3 just disappears. So I'm just left with 2x plus 7. And if I common factor out the power of 3, I'll just be left with 2x minus 5 to the power of 1, which I don't need to write the 1. And if I have a common denominator, I can just common factor that all out. So this is just 2 and then x squared plus 7x plus 3 to the power of half. So this is my common factor, and that's what's left inside. I just have to simplify the inside here, and then I'll be done with the solution. So just write the common factor the exact same to begin with. You can also change this now to a square root if your teacher does not allow exponents to the half in your final solution. And in here, I'm going to multiply this 16 into this bracket. And here I'm going to FOIL out the two brackets. And last step, I'm just going to combine like terms in the bracket. So 16 plus 4 is 20x squared. 112 minus 10 plus 14 is 116x. And then 48 minus 35 is just positive 13. And this is my fully factored final solution for this first question here. Take a look at the second question. Second question is pretty similar, just a slightly harder one, but should be about the same difficulty. You could do the first one. You should definitely be able to do this second one over here. So same idea. Let's start with f equals to 4x squared minus 3x plus 2 to the power of 5, my first term. G equals 2x squared plus 5x. I'll write it to the power of half so that it's easier to derive. F prime is 20x squared minus 3x plus 2 to the power of 4 times 2x minus 3. G prime is 1 over 2, 2x squared plus 5x, power of negative 1 over 2 times 2x plus, 4x plus 5. And now I can do my product rule, f prime g plus g prime f. So let's do that over here. I'm going to squeeze it in because this one is even larger than the previous one, and that one barely fit in the page. So I'm going to write this pretty small. So f prime g plus g prime times f. And now I can simplify this. So first term, nothing to really simplify over there. I'll just write that the same. And then over here, I can do 1 over 2 times 4, which is just 2. I can move that to the bottom, so I don't need to write that right now. And on the bottom, I just have that term, which is 2x squared plus 5x to the power of positive 1 over 2. Next, I can make a common denominator. So I'm just multiplying the top and bottom here by 2x squared plus 5x to the power of half. If I do that, the new exponent here will just become 1 because half plus half is 1. So I can just write it like this. Don't need to actually write the 1. Now I have a common denominator of 2x squared plus 5x to the power of half. Next, I'm going to common factor out the top. So between 20 and 2, my largest common factor is 2. Between these terms, I can only common factor out the trinomial, and I can common factor out to the power of 4. I'm going to common factor out x squared minus 3x plus 2 to the power of 4. And if I do that for the first term, I'll be left with 10 there, 2x minus 3, 2x squared plus 5x. And over here, I'll just be left with 2. Oh, no, no 2. 2 divided by 2 is actually 1, so the 2 disappears. 4x plus 5, and then I'll just be left with one of these brackets because I've taken 4 of them away. X squared minus 3x plus 2. You can also common factor out the common denominator at this point, so I'll just write at the bottom here 2x squared plus 5x to the power of half. Next step, I want to multiply all these values and all these brackets together. So let's do that. Write this the same. Bottom, I'll leave it as a square root now because pretty much done all the other important stuff. And then over here, I'll start by foiling out these two brackets and then I'll multiply in the 10 in the next step. So 4x cubed plus 10x minus 6x squared minus 15x. And then if I FOIL out those two brackets, I just realized I made a tiny mistake. 5x times 2x is 10x squared. Yeah, that looks better. And then FOIL out these two brackets here. So it's going to write over two lines because it's not going to fit on one line. And now next step, I'll just write this the same denominator. I'm going to combine like terms inside this bracket. So and over here, I'm going to combine like terms outside the bracket as well. 4x cubed negative 12x squared, so minus 7x squared. 8x minus 15x is minus 7x plus 10. And next, I'm going to multiply this 10 into the bracket. I'm actually just going to put that there. Don't do that in your test, but just to save a bit of time and space. Oops. 40x cubed plus 40x squared minus 150x. And then this is all going to be the same. And then last step is to combine all the like terms. So 44x cubed, 40x squared minus 7x squared is 33x squared, negative 150x minus 7x, negative 157x. And then last term is just positive. 10 has nothing to combine with. And that is my fully factored solution for this one. If you made it to the end of this video and you found this content helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.